Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I'm speaking from the county 041. This is the county of Siaya. And I want to speak about a matter that I've been consistently telling our viewers in this podcast about the mighty ODM party. And I said several times that Odinga family were not committed to that political agreement between ODM and UDA party. And the fact that two-term battalion, or rather the broad-based battalion, did not find opportunity to sell that agenda in the ongoing youth convention that happened in Mombasa is telling about the state and is telling about the stand of that party. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos. And thank you very much for supporting this podcast. I've been this side for the last 2 days and of course we started here. We officially handed over the 2 houses for Bildad and the children in Migori. This was on Wednesday. We were able to do this, and we thank you very much for supporting that project. It has taken us 15 good days, 2 weeks to deliver it because we were doing the 2 houses. And then after that,
yes, na tena kulikuwa na helpers wengi. Walikuwa wengi. Sisi wataja wote. Sasa nimeshukuru Bold. Tumepata kazi, tumepata kibarua. Bold, kibarua. Ingine tena ikitokea bado tuko. Bold. Kwa mwangu tunacho kuwa NTA. Ndio. Sina mengi.
Bwana asifiwe. Amen. Naitwa Tracy Wamboi.
Ilonge Tracy Wamboi.
Nasimamia saidi ya picha.
Uchung lemo margo picha.
Na tumefika Migori, mimi nafanya na Bold.
Gichupo Migori gitioge Bold.
Na mimi ndio nasimamia saidi ya community.
Ene muchung korka lemo mar loso gikmoke gwen.
Yes, mimi ndio na make sure tukifika hapa naangalia zile vitu ambazo tunaweza saidia, naweza kuziandika, ndio tunaenda tunadiscuss, alafu tunajua nani ataweza kumsaidia.
Ene muchung lemo ni kagigi kamoro tondiko gikmoko ong'iyo ni to ang'o madwarore kanyo ang'o mok dwarre.
Tubuta sana kukuja kusaidia builder.
Gimano ywayo matek kabisa
Ni vitu mbili.
Gik moko ariyo.
Kitu ya kwanza ni mtu anajituma sana. Hata kwa ile video tulitumiwa, yeye alikuwa analima mahali tu hapa. Na hiyo kitu ikatuonyesha hata kwa ile hali yako pia anaweza kujituma ku make sure watoto wake wamekula, ile kidogo anapata anaweza ku make sure familia yake inasonga.
Gimano
Nitie picha moro mago gi nyithindo ariyo gi.
Kuna picha ile amepiga na hao wadogo, huyu msichana na huyu the youngest.
Kama ne sweta moro makao yiech.
Ni kama alikuwa na hii jasi ile mararuka sana.
Ene Facebook.
Iko kwa Facebook.
Nyithindo gi chiemo no riembi.
Watoto wake pia siku moja walifukuzwa kwa
shule. Biro gigi kaja to giro ka wheelchair manana go mokwongo agora go piny ka.
Walipofika pale walipata kama ile first wheelchair naye ilibomoka siku hiyo.
To gimaka mondo gitinga ma.
Walijaribu kuimuinua juu.
Gino momiyo koro kawuono nyithindo gi rwakore ka girwakore no.
Hata Mungu aliona hiyo mpaka
kadipo kantie moro man gi wach.
Kama kuna yeyote hawa katika
manyalo biro kamano ne
wanaweza kusema ni thanks kidogo tu
kikatie kikao kamiu.
Ndio.
God is good and all the time. Nataka niwe kamano kwa mtu niwe dala waka akono niyo unasema ndo bedikodo.
Ombea Mungu azidi kuwabariki.
as I also indicated, I also led the whole team. We were in Bondo to pay our last respect to late Raila Odinga. I could not make my way to Bondo, but of course at that funeral because of other commitments that I had. But we went there and showed our last respects. And thank you very much for the team. By the way, I mentioned that I met quite a number of people who support Bold, who knew the podcast. And they were very much appreciative of the fact that we actually kept our word and went there. Now, today, without much ado, there was youth convention on the current ODM at 20 celebrations going on in Mombasa. And one of the speakers that spoke for the first time since Raila died is a lady I really admire. This is Raila Odinga's last-born daughter, Winnie Odinga.
Kupanga, tunahitaji kujipanga, and we need to make this party strong all over the country until the heavens do baba tusikize. Nimesikia mazungumzo za magawanyiko ya chama. Sahau ya yote. Baba alikuwa anasema hiyo ni nini ya chura? Kilio cha chura ama nini? Kelele cha chura. You know, when you have a great tragedy, people get confused and they act in strange ways. Lakini if anyone is thinking like that, wajua kwamba ODM inajenga na hatuna mchezo. ODM si chama kilichojazaliwa kama siri. Nasikia kuna wengine ambao wanatembea nasi mchana lakini usiku wanajaribu kuuza hii chama. Haiwezekani. ODM was not born in a bedroom. It was not made in a bedroom. So its future will not be discussed as pillow talk. It has been the heartbeat of the Kenyan people for 20 years. ODM was born from protest. It was raised in resistance. And the people of ODM have time and time again bled, sweat, and shed tears for this country called Kenya. We are sorry that we don't always get it right. Oleni. But we will never be sorry for being inconvenient. They like to call us a party of goons. What we're doing is nation building. Nation building is untidy. Nation building is inconvenient. Nation building is uncomfortable. Nation building has left us in tears as ODM, as the People's Party, time and time again. But we, ODM, belong to the people. And we will continue growing because the young people of ODM have conviction. It means something. Aki ya Mungu, it means something that after Baba's death, these young people are still sitting in this place because they have conviction. Miaka 20 iliyopita, ODM ilizaliwa kutokana na ndoto. Ndoto ya Kenya ambapo kila kijana ana nafasi ya kustawi. Ambapo haki inatawala. Na ambapo mustakabali wetu unaundwa na viongozi wanasikiliza.
Winnie Odinga is making some statement that carries a big political weight. That youth convention was attended by Winnie, Edwin Sifuna, Hassan Joho, Wanga. Wanga is in Mombasa, by the way, and other leaders, including Simba Arati, Godfrey Osotsi, and several others. And Winnie and Orengo, Winnie is saying clearly that ODM is not for sale. This is a party that was born out of a struggle. And so, it cannot be auctioned in some bedroom somewhere. You'll understand that Winnie's body language shows speaking with some high level of conviction. Yes, she's speaking like she mean it. Number two, from the larger Odinga family, only 2 people had been speaking. And these 2 people have been Ruto Odinga and Odour Odinga, who is the party leader. Now, from the inner Raila family, Winnie Odinga is the first person to speak on that ODM matter. And if you've been following, you'll understand that what Winnie is saying is what Edwin Sifuna said in Bondo, what Edwin Sifuna has been saying, is what Ruto Odinga says, is what Odour Odinga is saying, and they're quite a big voice on what Winnie is saying. Throughout her 13-minute speech, she never mentioned the word broad-based. Throughout that speech, she's not mentioned the word William Ruto. Throughout her 13-minute speech, she did not credit William Ruto for the state funeral. And clearly, Winnie is sending a message that it is not going to be possible for someone to auction the ODM party. I love this, and I think I don't want to blow my own trumpet. But to remain factual in this podcast, I once asked, if ODM is to work with William Ruto and someone is telling you William Ruto will strengthen ODM, why has he not strengthened the UDA? And I've said once, not twice, and not thrice, that those who believe on ideology, that Ruto is the ODM chief, need to be the ODM chief, needs to leave the party and join the president's party because the president has a party. In that youth convention, I wanted to hear the voice of Casmuel. Because Casmuel, since Raila died, was under some state script to attack Edwin Sifuna. And someone was saying that if Sifuna was to be ejected as the Secretary General of the party, then Casmuel was supposed to take over that position. No way. Today, Casmuel is saying, I apologize for attacking Sifuna in the internet, and you'll never see me attacking Sifuna yet again. So Casmuel was writing texts, long messages, long story on attacking Sifuna. He seemed to have been called and told, yo maneno ya kuattack the Secretary General, utakoma. From the Mombasa meeting, there are quite a lot that will have been achieved. And the two-term battalion were not there. I wanted to listen to Orengo.
Kuna wale ambapo wamestarehe, tayari wamestarehe na kuguruma kila mahali kusema ya kwamba tuko kwa broad-based. Lakini wamesahau kwamba katika bunge, katika Senate, chama ambao inaongoza upinzani katika Senate na katika National Assembly ni chama cha ODM. Chama cha ODM. Sifuna is the deputy whip in the Senate for the minority. So I urge you, Raila was so clever that he did not leave us just to be in the broad base. He wanted us to be the voice of the people, and that is why ODM is leading the forces within the National Assembly and in the Senate. Kwa hivyo mimi kama James Orengo nataka niungane na vijana. Mambo bado. Mimi, at the age of 30, when I was 30 years old, I brought a motion of impeachment against President Moi during the one-party era. Because we want governments that are accountable. That are accountable. And now, as we speak, I dare say, Ruto needs ODM. It's not ODM that needs Ruto. Sijui mnanisikia? There are people in the party. They are behaving as if ODM is the one that needs Ruto. Is Ruto that needs ODM? Kwa sababu ameshindwa. I'm not afraid to say. I'm not afraid to say. I have nothing to fear but fear. And I was very happy when Dr. Buru said ODM haitamezwa. And I'm very happy to hear what Winnie said. The liberation parties in Africa, all over, they are dying. Ukienda Tanzania, CCM imekufa. Ukienda Uganda, UPC ilikufa. Ukienda Zambia, party ya Kaunda inaitwa UNIP ilikufa. Kila mahali the liberation parties were dying because they forgot the people. I asked the leadership in ODM. ODM is a party of the people. By the people, for the people. ODM can never be the party by broad-based, for broad-based, and in the interest of broad-based. In law and in politics, there is nothing like that. That I can tell you. Tell me, if in 2027, you make Ruto the president, where does that leave ODM? Where does that leave ODM? In 1963, we had many parties, kulikuwa na KADU na vyama vingine. Na waliambiwa ya kwamba si sawa kwa upinzani. Na wakinangala wakaenda kwa KANU. Na vyama vyote vyakaenda kwa KANU. And we had to go to the streets to make sure that we have multi-party system of government. So, Raila, what Raila has left is bigger than all the 4 presidents who have ruled Kenya could ever live.
Our governor, 041, he's saying, we are ready to go back to the street if that is the price, and you can, the people in that hall marvel at that. People don't know. But when Jaramogi died, Jaramogi put Orengo in front of Raila. Raila overtook Orengo. So Orengo is not a starter. Orengo is someone who can continue. And his message is premised on this narrative that, you know, we will never go back to opposition. He's talking in the context of selling the party. The rallying call from the speeches, Edwin Sifuna, Godfrey Osotsi, the rallying call from the youth convention is ODM is not going to be sold. And sometimes I like politics. We don't have any evidence that someone is sitting somewhere to buy ODM. But the mere fact that someone wants ODM to endorse William Ruto as early as now is a clear sign that it has the potential of mutilating the party. And because the party, there is something happening here. The people that are protecting their jobs would want to use the party as the human shield. They want to use the party as the shield to protect their interests. They're not interested in that party, but they want to use it to negotiate for continuation. But this is what Mbadi and Mandai and the rest seem not to see. If ODM is to go back to the table, do you think that within that party, no one else can be a cabinet secretary apart from the two that have been picked? And this is the interest. Everyone is looking for that opportunity. So if you go live on camera, and I think Buddy made this mistake in Migori, when he went somewhere and said that you guys should vote in Ruto so that I continue serving as the treasury CS. I said, this one is mad. That was the first mistake that John Ngonga Mbadi did. That was a big mistake. There was no way you could come out and make such a statement. And so, the people that are saying, let us support Ruto, are being reminded that the party is not for sale. The voice of Winnie Odinga, to me, is the secret voice of Raila and is the voice of Odinga family, or the voice of Raila family. And there seems to have been a consensus that have been reached that we are not going to say two-term now. We are not going to sell the party. And I can surely tell you, if the broad-based choir masters are going to be profiled as agents who want to sell that party, then I can assure you that they will receive a very hostile reception back home. The party is very close to the heart of people around this place. The only thing they need to do, this is a party that has conducted elections 4 times. Losers are given party tickets. They face the general election. They will still come down and still listen to what Raila says, simply because they love the party. Now, after Raila exit, what remains of the political vehicle at the moment is that party. And an attempt for it to have been dragged, maybe taken over by the president, is going to make it more solid, united against that move. And in fact, leave alone what happened in Jubilee. Remember that fiasco in Jubilee? The ODM one will be terrible. The ODM one will be worst. Because there are 2 probabilities. Those who support William Ruto and are eating, you don't expect them to walk out. But those who believe that that is not going to the root, you don't expect them to cave in. So, it will depend on who has the majority. Whether we'll have ODM A and ODM B. But I have seen clearly, even Wanga was there. And I want you to listen to the speech of Wanga in Mombasa today. Listen. What Wanga is saying in Mombasa and what Wanga says when he attends funeral in Homa Bay are 2 different things. It seems that even themselves they understand. Wale watu wanataka kupinga sasa, hata Winnie ameongea. Let them attack Winnie. Sasa ukisema now attack Winnie. Leave alone Ruto Odinga. Leave alone Odour Odinga. Attack Winnie. Leave alone Sifuna. Stop saying Sifuna anaribu party. Attack Winnie. Tuone kama useme Winnie anaribu party ya babake. It is not going to be a walk in the path. And to my end, this is the reason why ODM is talking about a party on sale. This is, to my end, this is what I'm seeing. This is what they are seeing. I'm not saying someone has been given money to take over that party. But this is probably what is in the boardroom. You see, these people who are in government, they want president to use them, and by the virtue of them being in government, it should be an automatic endorsement for the president. Automatic endorsement for the president. That is the first thing. The second thing is a conversation I want us to cover. Does ODM have a candidate that can face Ruto in 2027? Too bad. No one was prepared for Raila exit. So you can't blame them for inconvenience, for that inconvenience. They don't have a candidate. But I want to ask the second question. Does that mean that ODM party cannot have a candidate in 2032? They can have one. Now let me tell you, the people that are planning for Ruto's succession would not want ODM. The reason why someone doesn't want ODM now, someone wants ODM to be killed now, is because of the 2032 succession, whatever happens. And that is why the issue of endorsing Ruto comes handy. President Ruto understands. He would want, even if he loses that 2027 general election, he'd rather lose it with ODM. Let me tell you, the party will be very strong if Ruto loses that election and they did not support him. It will actually be stronger if the opposition side wins that election and they were there with them. Why? Because of Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. An analysis I'm going to do next. I think the other secret thing why this issue of selling the party is emerging is this. There are some, there is political parties fund that is supposed to come. There are people that are of the opinion that ODM party should form a coalition with the UDA, actually fold and form one united party like the Jubilee One, and with that, Ruto to use that party on the platform of unity. That is what is in the mind of many people. But let me remind you, Code 2013, when Raila Odinga took his papers, he didn't take the papers. Nomination papers, alipeleka na ODM. NASA 2017, there was NASA 2017, but the candidate was ODM candidate. Azimio 2022, the candidate was ODM candidate. What am I saying? Forming a party, folding ODM and UDA to form one party is only going to benefit Ruto re-election. But ODM as a party does not seem to benefit because that is not going to be their candidate. And that is why some have been saying, if you want to be president, you decide. The other third aspect is this. The youth league in ODM is its biggest asset. I can tell you, that is its biggest asset. And someone is interested to destroy that asset. If that asset is destroyed, we are doomed. Ladies and gentlemen, the statement from Winnie is a very clear confirmation of what we have been saying here. Odinga family is neither broad-based nor two-term. They're not there. Thank you.